online. It's very good that we have the opportunity to be here and meditate and to hear about how to meditate. That's great. Rejoice in that. So this series of Sunday talks and meditations is going to look at exactly that. The way to meditate, but also how to improve oneself and become, a better person, a good person. And moreover, within that, we're going to look at it from the point of view of the methods of Buddha Dharma mainly.
말하는 창말라 먼저 창말라 미수 창말 수수 야고직 지야라 대와 여러 창말라 로야 나 야고직 그 창말라 야고 되오는 두자 되니 요마라 수직으로 창말 제가 대 창말 직벌에서 하더라.
We're all equal in that we want to be happy and content. We want to be good people. None of us wants to be bad and experience problems. That's a given.
다 이내 아니 다 가서 그래 좀 메제나라 야 내주 담만다 연구요라서로 예 그러나 직제도 거하게 랑시러제래 거에 준이 있으네래 직제나야 다 수수 곰싱에 바로 곰싱에 배운 아니 용되게 요래다 또 수수랑라라래게 요래 수수랑라라래게 요래서 왔다 딕슬랍도야 먼저 지난 다는 낭바에게다 타와지 메게저래네 저랑 먼저 주스 낭바 최고의 김생케요 말했으로 낭바 제야 개주문 말했다 아니 낭바에게다 낭배 최고가 나네 디 가서 그래 놀랍자 망불내야 요래 어두서 줄렌제 아니 알아서 소원을 나라야 케토이나
So now, that being the case, that we want to be happy and don't want problems and difficulties, well, somehow in this life, the conditions just come, difficulties come. And that very much is the nature of things. We call this the nature of samsara. It's kind of an unenlightened premise. And some of that's coming because of the past. And some of that happens to us because we've adopted certain habits that are invalid or negative habits. And, how you deal with that, how you work with that is very much personal. It's in your own hand. And, my perspective is that from the point of view of Buddha Dharma, I'm a monk, so I'm giving my advice from that level. But this doesn't mean that you all have to become Buddhist. Certainly not. But what we're looking at is the certain sets of advice coming from a Buddhist perspective. And with that advice, what we're trying to do is hopefully that advice will benefit us to make us become better people.
다 네두슬람나라 다레 딘다데 간도 공기 팬다 아니다 곰스나 카레 지글랍 아니 데스즈 소야나라 님의 daily life 나라 컨데스 키고 있면서 디즈니 공기 팬다 아니 곰스나 카레스로 아 데스즈 님의 소원을 나라 컨데스 페이지 치고 있면 되더라 So
what I'd like to be about today, what I'd like to look at this week is meditation. So firstly, what are the benefits of meditation and what is it? What does it mean to have a meditation practice? And then moreover, of course, in terms of how it relates to daily life on an experiential level, how can we incorporate that into our daily life? So those things.
공급편 쉐위나 아니 공급편 쉐위나 다배 망고 요래서 이게다 내가 그 편이다 타도 그 편이스 니 쉐기
So to meditate has so many benefits, but essentially we can talk about kind of these temporal short-term benefits and then more long-term benefits of meditating.
다 내가 베네피트 될다 카리어에 라위나 다 알아서 단다 학과도 알아서 단대 지도디나라야 아니 알아서 다 먼저 키싱 계산 먼저 we can go story로 가시에도 만차 디나 매빈다 망보질라다 emotion ki kangen di yorda emotion lapshana yagda dang phewe chik di lamogo chi emotion lapshana me de tap de yoro ta mi mangboji la ya da emotion ki kangen cheje ndi emotion control che go do sta ta de re dang arang zo chowa da kangen dungye so da nge thang sheu na shi re arang zo kumshi dang kuyu ngemba ro kuyu ngemba 아니 내다 냠바 kumshi 냠바 딘데지나 네드 당 냠바 될라데네 냠바 잔잔 용고요레스로 알아서 툭툭다 아니 코유 박조 사자 쪽바든 줄도나 참바제고도 와 아니 이와 리장마 리토고 저런 디체는 먼저 해킹도 왜요로 아니 추장마 아니 사장마 룽컬룽장마 도나 기부도가 코유게 내다 임번자 말아서 단대 코유 되나라 다 심게 강에게 더 랑진지 닝지 매버체네 다 강에데 쇼로 다 데즈릭도서 곰잡이나 이모션 컨트롤 치투야로 당 남산다 용 말에 되래 한다지 생그동에 단대 지도나라당 안서 다 용다하게 돼서 브로다 스트레스 다 anxiety 다 depression 다 loneliness 쉬우지기 제거라잖아 데즈릭도 안용으로 따야라 곰잡나 저 펜도야 아니 수수 수부대단래 펜도야 진짜 파샤니 니디 기버용야 너도저다 내가게 펜도 레스로
So these temporal benefits of meditating then, of which there are many. Yesterday we had a similar look at this. We had a course on dealing with daily emotions. Some of us that are here today were there yesterday, mostly not. But however, talking about emotions and how we experience them in society, we get many problems, and most of the times our problems come because it's difficult for us to control those feelings, and we might become overwhelmed by them. Yes, the feelings of difficulties and suffering are there, and sometimes they are coming because, as I mentioned earlier, they're coming from these habits that we pick up over a long period of time. These negative forming afflicted or invalid states of mind. And then sometimes we get into like difficult situations due to the conditions of our surroundings. It could be negative friends, whatever. So, if you go to a place that has a negative vibration, negativity as the conditions, then you will experience that. It's very much like if you go to a place that's poisoned or really dirty, you can easily get sick physically, like you can catch a cold. But I know conversely, some of you might like to hike and go to high mountain places. And in those places, what we tend to find is that the water is clean, the place is nice, all of the environment's good, and you start to feel good. Mentally you start to feel well. So what we can start to see by this is that the environment plays a part in our well-being, mental well-being. But essentially, we're trying to develop these meditations because we tend to find in society that people are overwhelmed with thoughts of just cherishing themselves. So we're in a society that has no compassion, or a lot less compassion. And on that level, then, we tend not to be able to control our emotions. So by learning these techniques, meditation and so forth, of course, we're not going to be able to control our negative emotions at once, certainly not. But what we will come to find is that over a sustained period of time, by doing these meditations, we can start to have less stress, less loneliness, less anxiety. So therefore, these temporal benefits of meditation are you start to feel better mentally, and as a direct result, the body feels good, you rest better. These are just some short-term benefit. And you sleep better. Sorry. We need our good sleep, right? That is there.
되기워요. 니 매사나 디장라 쇼그라 매는 베세테오라. 곰잘 베세테오 말해.
So if we sleep well, we don't need to take sleeping pills and lose money or become addicted to some medication. But if we meditate, we don't need that and we save money as well and we sleep well.
알아. 지난다 되서 공고 팬여래. 다 타도니 나나서 삼바 템포. 와 삼바 템포 차야. 아니 전주 쌤다다. 니 타도 전에데 대화. 다 넘버 산제베. 교화메베 대화세 시기요로. 타도 다들랑은 산제라고 그래. 타도게 대화 탐나 될 산제. 어디라다 곰 잡으면서 아요 말했다. 이게 상말와.
So not only that, but more long term, what are the benefits? Ultimately, the benefits of meditating is that one gets a very stable mind. One's mind becomes stable. And then further along, one starts to cultivate these more evolved attitudes of bodhicitta, the altruism. The mind starts to experience a more permanent sense of bliss and well-being. And within Buddha Dharma, we call this the state of Buddhahood. This is irreversible. This is something we can all do.
다 다양 계절만 오시나 양 전도 단다 삼로스 림블링 하는 터버서인가 당연히랑도 곰데스 잡는 계절 하마디게 시기 전에 제일로.
So, without me talking too much, we might be all over the place and too much for you to listen. So maybe it's better if we do sit together. And as we sit together, I'll bring a few points in. That might be better.
We will do some daily meditation, morning to evening, or daily basic meditation. First, motivation meditation. Second one is breathing exercise, and third one is breathing meditation. And we will do together. Okay. Motivation. Gulon di catching more as Rachadam. Tambo Gulon di Tatare. Gulon de Zeni Jabangela. Yongdagi. Logic Gulon de Chick and Nimagic Gulon de
Nivadira.
Gulon Nija was Chick Logic Gulonja. Chick Tiringi Gulon Nija was.
So when we meditate, motivation is very important. And we're going to have two motivations. One is for this year and one is for this day. That's it. That's it.
다 당보디 아니 니마 드리네 체베지 아니 nga 미상보직 로디나라다 배 미상보직 체제 nga게 로닝발을 하고 아니 미상보직 미 약보직 와 미라 펜도치니 미 미상보직 지도직이 로디나라다 기승에 밀라 페마도나 로디나가 밀라 너버직미 사오다디 굴론디 로직 굴론디레다 디데스 콤데스 잡샤스.
Now, reflect like this. From this day, for the rest of this year, I'm going to do better than last year, and that I'm going to solely help others. Have that benefiting intention of helping other. If I cannot help them, at least I'm not going to harm them. So make that strong intention for this year. But when we do the meditation, you can gently close your eyes and reflect. It should move the heart. You should get some feeling in the mind and the heart.
다 담자지. 다 로디나나 강에 야니다 용거래 야고 용거를 두자. 가이능에 삼바상부 쳐야 되다. 러브 당기면서 담자지.
Now make the strong resolve, the strong intention. This year, good times will come, negative times will come, that is there. But whatever one faces, try not to lose that kind heart. Make that strong resolve.
다 가와곰 당아 줄라 진대게 드리니 삼바 사바지 로 오늘 지난다 로 사바 상마 사바레 로 기버도 되니 나라이나 드리 삼바 사바 베 신변치야게 삼바 누가 첨부지 나 줄라 여 삼지 수수생라 가와곰지 아니 수수생 수부 창면나게 대화당 가와 차와라지 삼단도나 야고요로
Now it's good to reflect, it's good to rejoice and think how wonderful I have cultivated such a kind heart. New type of aspiration as it's a new year. That aspiration is one of the benefiting intent to benefit others. And how excellent that is. And that aspiration fills one's body and mind with well-being and bliss.
다들 로직이 꿀론 사오셔. 다 니마직이 꿀론데. 니 양자 자다 니마직 꿀론데 다 뒤에 데일리 쇼다르시 꼼잡트는 야고요. 레스로.
So that is motivation for the coming year. Now, for motivation for this day is something we can cultivate on a daily basis.
다 데일리기 딩에 녜마 라고스 녜 인지 딩에 론지 단샤요. 레스로. 저라서 가야 랜드 지셔스로.
인지 콜라 장이면.
갈래 망부 잡셔야 녜 라고스.
So I'll make an effort to do this in English. In English. So here we go.
전조야 랜드시디 깨데 슉체스 잡스로 깨 슉스 잡나 이렇게 야고요. 레스.
수 건조해.
다리링에 라우라. Please repeat after me, okay?
Please say quite loudly if you can.
Today all the actions of my body, speech and mind will only benefit others. Today all the actions of my body, speech and mind only benefit others. Today all the actions of my body, speech and mind will only benefit others. 저는 수수 찰숨 심나는 겨 아니
Hmm.
책디 단다 상로 당로
So then,
When suffering comes, then try not to stay and wallow there.
Meaning
three times
3 times.
after that and then
Then think on that.
다양 드링 내주 야니 가리 첨부이나 네 선바 밀 편도셔야게 선바 상부디 르 당기면서 더기면서 그냥 담자지요
Again, make the resolve that today, whatever comes up, be it good or bad, I'm never going to relinquish or lose that intention to benefit others, the kind heart.
다양 가오금 양 나는 진짜 선바 드링이야 나는 선바 상바 선바 누가 첨부징아 유 선바 가오금
Now rejoice, think how wonderful I have that kind heart, and my mind has the potency of that kind heart. How wonderful.
어야 당조 비딩 exercise 지킨다로 다들 개바 수유 정보 잡디 수유 정보데 단다 미그란자 좀 나야 고요 딜레 안 나고니네야 우 죽제는고 땅으로 아니 지 나고나 우수 땅데 수수수고나 누가 싸바라고 레바 삼노 땅 안 우파 땅데 다 그런 스트레스 이나리 앵자리 칼레 강에 샤위나 심라 땅다로 어디 파 된소 템바 삼노 땅 어두 스콤데스 잡셔스
Now we're going to do breathing exercise. And for this, one needs to have a good posture, just so that the spine is straight, the shoulders are kind of straight, not too tight, but relaxed. And you can also gently keep the eyes closed. And doing on the in-breath, imagine that when you breathe in, your body is filled with a great sense of well-being. Body and mind have a great sense of well-being on the in-breath. And when you exhale, all of the stress, anxiety, worries, physical, mental defect is gone.
다음에 욱주 당겨 파 두고요. 시바 제. 당가 우릉 보지 주 당가도. 네 우릉 파 당가도 디 하고 지데스 콤데스 자스.
Now meditate on awareness of breath. So now I'm inhaling, a long inhalation, now exhaling, long. Just place the mind there, be aware of it.
다 욱데스 통화시당요. 통화디 주 당파 당거디 시바지. 나데스 콤데스 자스.
Now make the inhalations and exhalations a little bit shorter and just be aware, now I'm inhaling, now I'm exhaling. Meditate on that.
다 욱당겨요디 시그도나. 오늘 먼저 다 비딩 메디테이션 장가자고 오늘은 우차 당 파당 가지 장가직 장하니 장가숨 수당 파당 직 수당 파당니 수당 파당 숨 양결이야 직이 숨 직이 숨 제고 숨접 근데 잡투스나는 아니 대참샤 아니 대스 가가 되는 심 다다와는 다다 직남도가 그냥 심 시와 되어 여러 어디 하고 제 네가 심데 샤 나 될라 믹다나 야고요 단단한도 당보 데데스 가고요 믹담바이나 지메 곰 주름 부잡디 니모고래 펜도요.
Mhm. So now if you are able to know or recognize that your mind is staying or riding on the breath, we're going to begin to count the inhalations and exhalations in cycles of 3. So in and out, that's 1 round, the second round in and out, and the third round in and out. And that's 1 set of 3. And we're going to do that 3 times. And having done 3 cycles of 3, then we're just going to rest in the present moment of the mind, place the mind in the present moment, and you might notice less thought and a sense of well-being and bliss in the mind. Just stay with that. And at this stage, we should open our eyes slightly, because if we're meditating for a long time with eyes closed, we might get sleepy.
아야 다디 저 뒤 이마직 다 그런저 단다 될 싸워 먹고도 곰디 모티베이션디라 까마 숨지 않는데 주주 따지로 쇼베 까마 주주 대샤 모티베이션 까마 숨 자장도 다다지 제 아니 되네 비딩 엑서사이즈 데라 까마 숨 비딩 메디테이션 까마 숨 까마 구 까마 주제지 꼬마 주제지 쇼다르시다 곰 자리 둔다 될라 chāngānsu sīsīn 사바츠다 사바츠 자르다 gyōnānsu dē tūjūn jamnyēzu dā 콤바 요산 sīsī tūzūr tāki tāki tūzū shirāmēnā tūzū tūndūndū tūzū māngbō yōnā anē dēzēn rē kāma chū ngā chū chōngā kāma chū lā dēzēn rē tāngyō mārē māng thāna jēl nyobdō chādā wā ngānānsu dānsu dē sāwa māngbō dō anē 당부 금시설 윤다가 될라 저런저 모티베이션 대전 숨 잡상에 대전에 까마 숨 전에 까마고 또 까마 쥐나라 디그레 곰디데 자샤나 그러니까 아니 디 윤다디 곰디 잡잖아 야고요 금시설로
So some of us here are new to meditating, and if that's the case, then it's good to cultivate a daily practice from here on in for the following week. We can train in this and breaking those stages of the meditation down. So firstly, for 3 minutes, we set the correct intention or motivation. The second set of 3 minutes, we do breathing exercise where we're aware of the inhalations and exhalations. And the third set, we do breathing meditation where we count those 3 sets of 3. So that is going to make around 9 or 10 minutes. Better not to perhaps go over that 10 minutes, because if you try and push it and do too much meditation, you might get dull or you might not feel like doing it. So because some of us are new to meditation, that would be a good thing to train in for the next week, setting aside that 10 minutes in the morning and practicing.
다 펜도 가려요 나 디잠네로 이라 디숨죠 꿀롱 공제디 답에 개정보래 그런데 내가 가려있네 꿀롱을 제거로 와
Yes.
다 디단당도 공제라다 하나 상물로 샘바 상마다 내가 그이나 सक्सेस 고고요래 디기 고고요래 야구 고고요래 가래 야구 영어 만연사데 또 당고 스스 꿀롱 샘바 상고 요면을 알래요 릴레이션십 야구 영어 만연 칼라지 서베이네 삼바 상부 코네 칼라 소모드는 칼라의 신부여 말해요. 칼라야고 영어 말해. 아니 신다 파샤디도 아직 상주 장마 써야 된대 이메이나 꿀론라 지 핀심지 꿀론이면은 내가 가래이네 야고 영어 말해요. 제가 이 지나서 따다 하고라도 내가 응아라서 딩상 비즈니스라 미상만 빼샤라 가고로 아니 미 가져 그 보스디 수수 내가 지니래야 지 팬도다 아니 직배 핀심다 원에 가요래 팬도 가져 채워는 되게 비즈니스디 सक्सेस 연구여라 가져이나베 수수지고미시 상담에 미상만 남매 다니시도 딜 가와이네 सक्सेस 연구여 말해 데레 데 베전 세브레로 그런저 세브하고 그러던 제가데 군론데 내가 가르쳐베이나 삼바상보디 개정보 쉬워진자 네 곰잡디위네다 삼바상보지 돈에 곰자야래 제가 쇼베야 람바다가 삼바상보지 키토베이나 아니 니마데 야고지 도트베야를 잡아요라 제가 네 군론데 다 개정보 쉬워지 누가의 첨보래 아니 펜도의 첨보래 제가 이 군론 자고에 내가든데 에스로 군론 신변치고 하더라
Yeah.
나란진지도 시험 말아 말한 스티비.
Yeah.
네 라우마라 상마요라.
So going back to the benefits of meditation, so when we first do this first stage of meditation, we have to have a good motivation. This is the first thing we mentioned. Motivation is very important, whatever one is doing, whether you're working in your daily life, whatever, because in short, we want to be successful in what we do. Not only that, we want to have mental happiness, mental well-being. So it's the mind that creates those things. So, that good intention before you do anything is very important. Vis-a-vis motivation, be it for a relationship, be it making food, whether you're cleaning, whatever you're doing. The fact that those things will go well or not depends on the intention behind them. If the intention behind those activities is one of the beneficial intention, then those things tend to go well. These days, everyone wants to be successful in business. We like business somehow. And you want to either please the boss or you want your work to go well. Well, that all comes back to motivation too. If the motivation behind that is good, the success will come. Somehow, we tend to think in a very narrow way. We tend to think just me or my family without having a real broader motive there. Our motivation tends to be very limited, but what we're wanting to do here is to, every day when we wake up, as soon as we wake up, is to assume that intention to benefit others so that the day goes well and things go well. That's very important.
현재 디 모티베이션 디 클래스디 도나시다 하고 그래봐. 클래스로 스스지고 클래스디 시라선이 정말 미지나 미디 신부 영향 체등에 클라야 보시소기 클라 신부시소기 서로 하나랑 톡보 총모 파마 빈자 그래지나 코란 신부지 영향이 다 수불라 편보 영향 체등에 클라야 보시소기 인선 삼로 틱스 땅 클라스 서비나 칼라데 빼 면다지 용 그래. 어디 굴롱 키르고요.
Yeah, we can look at it, the motivation in terms of cooking a meal. If you're cooking a meal just for yourself, you don't tend to make such a good job. But if you've got guests coming, if you're cooking for friends, for loved ones, for parents, whatever, your partner, then you're thinking, right, I want to make a delicious meal. So you tend to put the effort into it because you want to benefit them. They want to taste a nice meal. Motivations like that.
다들 매버체 아 당한 님마 다바르 소거 당아 테르스네 칼라 팅교로 차구도 차르도 나 님마 다바르스 빼녀구도 다 세자라 아니 팅교로 차구로 안단데 저거데 어다 칼라데 가래네 교문도 알아.
But if the attitude is like, oh no, not cooking again, I have to do the same dish every day, I lose my interest and I start to burn it a bit, and it's not very delicious for you or the friends. If the motivation is like that, isn't it? Yeah, the latter one is highlighting the lack of good motivation. So coming back to that motivation, what it does is that it has a tremendous power and a tremendous result.
다들 단다 비딩 exercise 해야 돼. 다 등산 저런도 가시 new age 도인데 비딩 exercise new age 비딩 exercise new age 뭐 쉬어래. 등산 인터넷에 간라. 근데 대용보다 다 비딩 이거라 심망부샤네. 아니 스밍망부진 추창문날 망부 대투야로 등서 등 항라비 산도다 저런다. 등산 항상도가 그래서 상마다 비딩 exercise new 거 아니. 그래서 미 가려용 거에는 스스 데 곰디 개고에나 아니 지 스트레스 뉴드야다 응가데로 다 패닉 된데 왜걸라 아니 비딩 exercise 시다베 잠딩딩 당 그래로 먼저 패닉 망고여로 쇼핑 패닉 당 바로나 와르시 돌레베베 뇨야라 패닉 된데 근데 가둘라데 비딩 exercise 당제 아니 당 알아 고나 미신달라 고레 삼스타웨나 아니 망고뇨야 삼무드 레그 마르와 아니 데 메나 아니 패닉 뉴르도 고르와 데 펜도 셴보 쇼저레 와
Now, breathing exercise, what's the benefit of that? Well, it seems to be kind of the in thing now. When people are wanting to know how to breathe, we can see how to do it on the internet. There's even cases where people want to be able to breathe and jump into extremely cold water and so forth. But in short, breathing meditation is that the benefit is that it reduces the stress. If you do breathing meditation, the anxiety comes down, there's less panic. There's a spaciousness and a softness in your mind. We start to find, and you don't have the panic when you shop. You wouldn't have so much panic around this whole virus thing, and people are queuing up to get toilet paper and not thinking about others might want toilet paper. But if you've done breathing meditation, you might think, that person wants toilet paper just like me. So therefore, these are the benefits of being able to breathe. Yeah, the basic thing is When you breathe, you relax. And if you don't know how to breathe, you're only focused on yourself.
제가 대직을 니네네 breathing exercise 때 수수 수불 타 고죽다 된데라 편도 전부 와
Wheels.
다
Yeah.
진이다 된데 수불 왜 편도 전부 닝다 된데 나도
So we also know that breathing exercise benefits blood pressure. The blood pressure comes down, the heart is stronger, there's less like diabetes, all of that.
다드네 breathing meditation 도 장가지 하시도 와.
Yeah.
이 빼요요 단당한서 저런 당보주 숨에 배진 가고 책으로 와. 근데 내 갈래 숨내시 nga tu ya thanga jirum shu jaman de mutu je jabayina ani thamba dembo chayo ngorwa thamba dembo chana ani ya lo chor lidu ani demenja chago mat다 ala 신다 파샤 저 디 딩산다 프로브라우레 가서나 내가 기진 라에 가서 nga데 곰바난 되고 곰바 자갈 호저 저 동랑 가서 요래 오늘 디나라 타워직 데멘자 차고 권용도라 타워 미직래 데멘자요가 튕금인도
그래서
제가 네 가르치는 건서 고망부 제고요라 고망부 제고 인자 안 되게 참바된 뭐 차용 거라
And the benefits of the breathing meditation where we count the cycles of breath. It might be difficult for us as beginners to stay with those 3 cycles of 3, but as we do more and more effort in a sustained way, we start to get more, comfortable with it. We can do 3 cycles, 5 cycles, 10. And what the breathing meditation does is you get tremendous stability of mind. This thing we called recollection or mindfulness becomes very stable. And there's a proof there. Where I came from in South India, we stayed in a monastery of which there were like 5,000 monks. And I never heard of one of those monks ever getting dementia. And I think this is because they do very stable and continuous meditation practice.
제가다 디레 대직네 디레 니네 은행한도 다 뒤중한도 전한도 신의곰 세도
그리고
디레 다 신의라 템바템 보소 써야 되죠. 템바템 보소 와.
And the second benefit of breathing meditation is for those who want to accomplish shamatha. This is the calm abiding meditation, the single-pointed concentration. Here, the result is that your recollection or your mindfulness becomes stable.
다 디네 곰게 편대로 드리고체. 다는 곰스나 가래스로 곰 다 니버디나 되제 니버디 되시.
No.
다른다 곰스나 가래로 곰스나 가르시고 그래서.
Now, we've just looked at the benefits of meditation. So now the question, our second thing we were going to look at today, what is meditation itself? What does it mean to meditate?
다 곰라디 칙코랑라 삼다위나 페베칙라 사갑다 간을 고마 곰시리야나 간을 고마 곰세라 곰리체바세라 야네 곰리체바들라 니 곰스다 곰고 칙 데려와다 칙도 데려와다
So we can look at the meaning of this word meditation if we look at the Tibetan term for meditate, which means gom. So gom means to become acquainted with or to make the mind familiar with.
다 곰 친이 참아데 아니 띵인진 다 내자요 다 곰들라 여와망 뭐 쇼저다 곰스나 칼라슬라우나시리로 칼라라다 타예요로
알라.
네 곰세야데 되나시리 곰나나 타예요라다 곰 잡다 다 맨다요라다로
Now really meditation is a type of concentrated mind, single-pointed concentration, but if we look at meditation itself, there are countless types of meditation. Just as you would have countless types of food, the numbers of or the types of meditations you can do are limitless.
당에 주도리는 내가 니가 쉐비나 아니 대신 세우차로 그래서.
But to make this pith essential, two types of meditation.
다 당보디 띵인진으로 미과질라면 신의기 차도 거들와 조금 단 조금 세도 아니 미과직 숭제 대간을 심샤 다 미과 가르소나 되거라 우글라 미과 숭나 되 당경어도 우글라 숭어라
왜나?
아니 저랑서 콤바제도 콤베간을 심샤나 되그래 아니 칼라서도 칼라간을 심샤나 되그래 아니 다든데 코도 다간을 심샤나 되그래 아니 수수 아말 심샤나 되그래 tom발 심샤나 되그래 추조를 샤나 되그래 아폼을 샤나 되그래 모델을 샤나 되그래 수수 kum시 심디 대간 내고 요라 미과 가르 제네 공부 미과를 되기요 다 대간라 아니 델라 심마요 제제 네 제대야들 조금 미과 대간 심 조금 들
The first type of meditation we'll look at is called a placement meditation, or single-pointed concentration. So here, you are just placing the mind single-pointedly on the object. It could be any object. Your focal object could be the breath, could be some of you like when you do walking meditation, you're just totally present with that. Could be when you eat, could be the sounds you hear. You could single-pointedly meditate on your mother, on a friend, on the iPhone, on your car, whatever object you choose, as long as you keep your single-pointed placement on that object.
어디다 신내기 차도 버려야 돼. 이게 정말 신내나야 뒤로 신내기 차도 신내 진이 정하다 말아봐다. 신내 진이 정말 톱나다 배디다 신내 망보 톱제네. 배 루시 신장 데베스인다 땅 데게다 신내 진이 정말 톱을라 고 망보 야거든요. 탑라 망보 도거로.
Yep.
아이나서 내자디 템보스야라 탄당한서 다 템바담보서 당긴한서 울라 장가 잡성아 당부 울라 장가 니 잡숨 잡시 정합잖아 아니 템템로 아니 셈 템보디 르르르르르 아니 네 세겐치 까마치 까마니 까마숨 까마시 까마가 아니 도수수 아니 추주직 대트야데 미과지라 민네도 어디 된데게네 곰자야들 조금 시제 당한서 이 백해준보레 삼바 템보서가 백해준보 쇼지레스로
So really, what we've just talked about, being able to place the mind single-pointedly on the object, is a part of shamatha. It's a part of it. It doesn't constitute the full definition of shamatha, because when you get shamatha proper, karma abiding proper, it's endowed with a certain type of physical and mental pliancy, which gives tremendous bliss by definition. But just looking at this first part of that shamatha, the fact that we talked about placing the mind on the object, what that does is make the mind tremendously stable. Yeah, so the mind becomes very stable and mindful. And we're doing this, as we mentioned, by counting the breaths, the breathing meditation. So doing a 1, 2, 3 times, and then eventually one is able to place the mind on more and more cycles until you can place the mind for 1, 2, 3 minutes, and then up to hours on end, you can place the mind single-pointedly on the object. And this is tremendous for stability of mind and recollection.
다들 제곰사디 곰니바디 데다 개침보래 데 먼저다 디지 두고요나 등에세요 당먼저 베나간서 말한서 총어 간다 제곰사디 김제상 다야들 다도 슬랍샤는 게라로
Yeah. The second type of meditation is more of analytical meditation. We want to be happy. We do not want problems and sufferings. So we have to reflect on it.
베나 먼저 말아서 줄 닝제 야제 당고래 아니 세베냠레 야제 당고요래 아니 다 짐베냠레 야제 당 야제 멍부 당고라 드즈 따야라다 아니 말아서 다 베나 베차샤나 말아서 통어나 relationship 강에 전부 쇼로하다
Yep.
relationship 야고서야라 조금 잡되나 relationship을 편도시다 요말에 그곰 잡되는 거다데 아니 야 산사도 야미란자 차야 저 잡되그라 다 relationship 여러 단야라 제공을 편도고다 제공으로 제공 잡다
The second type of meditation analysis is very useful for increasing great compassion, for increasing being a patient person. If you want to increase, for example, the generosity, to have a generous heart, then you have to go through this type of reasoned analysis. And of course, in our life and relationships, we tend to have problems. Now, you're not going to solve problems just by doing single-pointed concentration. You might get up from single-pointed concentration and just get back into your disputes. But if you're doing more of an analysis around your situation, then that can really help relationship issue.
어디에다 곰라 쇼지 망보다 데데니디나라 데 페진디 디고체로 이 다디 디나네다디 먼저 초원거 간라다 간데스키오레스로 다디 디게지시나 페지 약소르다.
Right, so essentially many types of meditation, but essentially those two, placement meditation and analytical meditation, and they need to be based on reality for our life.
다 당보디 아니 심 다다와 간라 데도체 개좀 쉬어래다.
Now, the first one, making it real, you have to be able to place the mind on the present moment. That's important.
먼저 미망보지 다 대외 내주 야 뭐지 아니 체네가 뭐 가시 춘주가랑아 바와 딘데체서 바와 아마 통사로
Yeah.
단도디 강이 만디고디 기대요. 다 대다 초 가르더라.
There are some of us who always bringing up things from the past, thinking about the father, thinking about the mother. They might already be dead, but you're still revolving these thoughts. There's not so much benefit in that.
제가 네 베나 계산한 저 내주 두가지 중대요나 사사라고 원해시나 어 이냥 아주 드링디 계산하게 내주 두고 중요한데 단다 케이고다 내가 배게지 케이인데 네 강에서더라.
Yesterday we might have had a difficult time and we're still thinking about it, but think about it, that's gone, but we're carrying that package and that package gives us a hard time.
제가 먼저 단기 곰잡제 우중 곰잡 아니 심 다다와가나 샤송아 어디르다.
Yeah, that's why we did breathing meditation, and then we just watched the mind being in the present moment. That's why we did that.
다네디심 다다와 샤라니 인지민지기다 우가 말에 곰바잡디 나탄다 곰바잡고요 시바체로 아니 칼라스디 위는 나탄다 칼라스고요 아 잔도 계전이디 나 계전이 거디 디 미디 카르라고도
So staying in the present moment just doesn't mean only meditating, does it? When I'm walking, I'm walking. When I'm making food, I'm making food. And when I'm listening, oh, what's that person saying? If they're talking a lot. Sorry.
Oh yeah. 제가 다 가다 심 배낭아라서 미망고지 모다 당아 등서 모다 장겨라. 이게디 냠뇽데 셰비나 저런도 상모 모다 당게서 펜다여.
Now, I'm going to share something here. I'm learning to drive. And you guys all probably can drive, so.
미가시 nga kilometer 따다 두고요. 납줄 두고래 게 두주 두고래. 아니 가시 납줄 두주 두고다. 아니 그 람사 미디 그 컨트롤 안 두고다. 그 납줄 두주 두고다. police ticket는 갈래 되면 콜 되고 말아. 나 두고 말아. 아니 잡네 아니 가시 빼라다. 아니 게 봤다.
Some people, like when I see a 50 speed limit, I'll keep to 50. If I see 60, I'll keep to 60. And there are those that are behind me when it's a 50 limit. They want to go 60. And they're getting all impatient going, boop, 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 speed up, speed up. Well, they should be getting the ticket, not me, right?
틱지 마디고 달람사 뜻 라기다.
Yeah.
인제 람스 콘도 사지 나 콘도 사저저 제 연구였으니 저지.
Yeah.
다디고는 나 콘도 사저저 제 연구였으니 통구다. 틱지 마디고 달람사 뜻 라기다.
I see that with drivers, like they're driving so close behind, and just a little break or a little mistake and they're just about to spill over into the anger, right? Just so close. Just one little mistake and they lose it. You can see them at the wheel, like so tight, like just about to lose it.
Maybe car a little bit shaking. Relax, yeah.
Why don't they just chill, relax, and just drive?
And the traffic light in a career. Kasi traffic light is not.
You have to stop at the light, or maybe you're at the light and you have to breathe because you don't want the light.
breathing exercise 제일 잘 못했나.
Why don't you do your breathing exercise when you're driving?
Yeah,
It's okay, right?
just 10-15 minutes doesn't matter. Sit there, and some people too rushing, and between there's some big truck stuck there exactly the same. No much point. And 까먹나 나랑일래나 가져라.
Yeah, it's like they're getting impatient behind a truck, but they might get there 5 minutes before you. What's 5 minutes?
내가 evening로 하다 까먹나 내가 가다요 말 내가 갈래 가대요라.
Yeah.
까먹나 나를래스는 아니 집이다 그래. 아니 그래 나 갈래 제약해면도 까먹나 나랑일래나 채워해면도.
That might be one thing if you're trying to get to work and you're 5 minutes late. But if you're coming home, what are you going to do? Watch TV with that 5 minutes?
집이다야 5 minutes late 차와대 가래야 돼.
It's not a big thing to be late to watch TV for 5 minutes.
제상 데려와 제상도 전다 딘데 삼문당네 아지 닝 뭐네다 닝제로 그러와 콘데 사 주주지대 콘데 사
just about to
닝제라 그러더라.
Really, when you see such people getting irritated behind the wheel, it's like they're an object of compassion. How sad that they're just about to get angry over that.
제상 다디 아니 다 디직체 다디네 단당한도 디 제공자야디 총원나라 아니 개체슈딩도 다 닝지야 되고 당한서 닝지면나 아니 메제나라다 가고래도 닝지 만나도 춘주간에 밤에기 잠종 닝지 다 가셔라 밤에 잠종 라임 바나 알아이나 밤에 잠종 라뇨유장 어디 라고 인스로
Okay. Yeah.
라야 가셔야 가요 말어 밤에 춘주간에 내단다만 카테고야 되는데 요래때 믹스해를 봐 그런 수수수 먼저 낭배 취지는 테디 수수 파마지고 그죠 말이야 저왕아마 내단 저한테 요 인상 가시 춘주간에 밤에 잠종 라뇨 매비 인상 아니 밤에 저와 요르슬랍도 계제도 도구면도 와 밤에 저와 도면은 미신다지 저와 라뇨 요로 개갱이 저와 요래 네 나르시 저와 요래 촉부 저와 요래 저와 춘주간에 저와 지금 가서 경셔요로 알아 제상가서 닝지스니데 메제나라다 오늘게다 계신 뭐 쉬우지 그래 단다로.
Now with the more reflective analytical meditation, this is really so we can increase compassion. Everyone needs compassion. If you don't have compassion in life, things become very difficult. And, for me, I think that from the time we're born, we're all really under the loving care and kindness of our parents. Certainly that was the experience for me. So I'm going to share my take on compassion coming from the point of my parents that loved me. And then there are those who didn't have such a good time with their parents. That is there. From a Buddhist perspective, we say that that's also due to the connection you would have had with those beings in a past life and coming into this life with that connection, whatever. So if it's difficult for you to think on the kindness of the parents, no blame. There are relationships you would have had with teachers, with nurses, or with loved ones. Someone would have helped you and nurtured you with compassion when you were young. We have to remember that.
로침부잖아요. 미 잠종 고고도 하다 딩산 미망보치 레스하우스는 돈이 좋으면도 가르스나 레스하우스는 내가 진일은 닝지요 말아. 미망보치 돈이 맞도 김생 가래 페나라 닝지요 말아. 그래서 비즈니스 빼셔서야 레미시지기. 다 가셔 닝지 요로 미 상마다 망자 용다게 내가 이제 미망자 레스하우스는 돈이 좋으면도 가르치는 돈이 좋고 말아가지고 페나라로 비나라 닝지 라비오 말다 간다 빼셔 비즈니스 미시 시스템 미시지기 대 돈이 주고 말아 데려와다.
And even as we age, as we get older, we're at the behest of others. We're dependent on others to love us, to care for us, to be compassionate for us. People really don't want to go into rest homes. Why do they not? Well, perhaps there's a lack of loving concern there. Most rest homes are made on a business incentive basis. And so therefore, the people going into them, they know they perhaps won't get the love and compassion that they want to have.
그래서 나라들 닝지 고고이나 수술라 닝지 고고이나 네 밀파 닝지 때오라 밀파 저 말에는 수수수니 저 거용 그래라 이용 말하다
Now, think about it. If you need love, then you have to give it out. You know, if you're in need of loving kindness and compassion for yourself to be nurtured, then you have to nurture it out. If you don't give out, you don't get back.
제가 뒤져봐야다 나랑도다 믹스에게 들어왔다 닝제세야디 다 닝제야디 컨테스트 당고래 라비인데 나 특유네 그런서 갖도에랑 라고요로 먼저 수수 칠레에 미딜라다 자와데 되어다 칠레에 미딜라다 디까딘 청고래 스타리 둔다디 저는 먼저다 데 싸워 먹고요 저는서 이는 모티베이션다 비딩 엑서사이즈 비딩 메디테이션 체 근데 이거라야다 아니 수수 칠레에 미디 수수라 까딘 첨부 임바데 다데 애널리티가 곰레로 제공점 만원 칠레에 미팅 알로 펜더 가서도 디시에버 챘더라 디 계주무쇼라 칠레에 미디 펜더요 마심버체 아니 소셜 미디어다 두저간을 죽칭제 아니 틸 가와잖냐 배제제 아니 디다 가서 초와디 캔다 쇼차로 단대 두절로
Strange times. So, these are strange times. So, in that sense, you know, the connect with the relationships in terms of compassion, that's very important. So, with that connect in our lives, connecting with others, we have to increase it. We have to have a method for increasing the compassion. And I always mention the best one to do it is to start with the nearest and dearest, those ones that are around you, to think how they have been kind to oneself. And to take that meditation with us during the week would be really good to do. You know, how those close ones around us are so kind to us, and recognizing that kindness. So we're looking at two things. We're going to look at cultivating a daily meditation practice, first with a motivation, then to do some breathing exercise, place the mind on the breath, and then breathing meditation. But then these other day-to-day things of recognizing the kindness of just the people in your environment close to you. Because if you don't do that, if there's a complete disconjunct and you're all up on the social media, you could be on the phones, and then people around you, you're not recognizing their kindness. And then how strange we've become.
그래서 단대기 강행데 말아도 소셜 미디어다 아니 뉴스도 다에 많잖아 내가 이 시험바 코육디나네 내주 독자 망고코나 심 투도로
알레
내주 도 데스 뉴스나 야고였다 중나다 카트제션 데도고
Yeah, you know, the troubles we're experiencing in society, I think social media and news has a big part to play in that. And like I mentioned before, if your environment is that reality that has effect on your mind, you know, like if you take poison, then you get sick. Like I said before about the environment, if you go to a dirty place. So some of those things, just leave them. Some of you can just leave these social medias.
어디로 와다 인디 다리 둔다디 라곰야디 랑종디 하고성 세부차성 왔어.
Yeah, so for this week, I hope the kind of self-study is clear, what we should try and practice.
근데 domba 점된데 랍자된데 지송요 대배야고 그래. 랑게 르레 벨랑네 신라 네오 마제송요. 대야고다. 대 랍자데 배 누가 첨바. 아주 춘추가는 파마드들라고 그래. 대미 제일 점된데랑 송교래도. 랑게 르레 벨랑네 신라 네오 마제송요. 춘추가는 바와 아마 뭐뭐 창매라고 그래.
랑게 르라.
수술라 벨랑네 밀라 네오 마제송. 가서는 미신다 지가 수술라 직두자라는 아마기와 용거도와 아니 게 미신라바 직두자라 기요 말했어. 랑게 루페 example 쳐버렸어. 수수 example 쳐 수술라 미신다가 너가 직두자라 body language로 담아대 아니 다 볼링도 치딩데 쳤나다 세마마기와 용다요로. 미신다 수수 진짜 제도 마기와 용거도와 다디 인데 디 수수 밀파 지기요 말했어. 다디 어디라고.
And Lord Buddha gave a really wonderful piece of advice that my parents taught me when I was young, to just use your own body and mind as an example, not to harm others, because others don't want to see that, just as they wouldn't want to experience problems. That's very important.
레레도 benna da e gom jabde da so nyamnyo je experience lengwa so ku chegum la ne mi shinda ji ge ni tik du ja ji la na nga ma ji we yong do da nga mi shinda la ha shwo de ro da negative tin mi shinda ge negative she na sama ma ji we yong do wa
Yeah.
so da mi shinda la negative she ju yo mar kharse na ani mi shinda la nge pha ji negative she na phejo da ma ji we yong ro da
Yeah.
ani jinza da di she ju men do da di ya wo men do
So we can.
Kale da yer ye dang da.
Yeah. The way to do this is doing a reflective meditation, like we said, an analytical meditation, to think that if you speak harshly towards others, if you use harsh speech to them, it upsets their mind, doesn't it? Makes them feel bad. So you wouldn't want that to happen to you. So over time in your experience of meditation, you start to see through experience.
di gom kumdi che da ngarang ze mejing ngo na ne su so je da di ta lamsa di nangbe gom jap je mi ya go ji gom jap din jing ni la cha go mar da sro di ro ma che mi ji di ro ba jam na besar da
Now that's like, meditation as a practice for life, but doing it through one's experience, what feelings are coming up. And in reality, you aren't going to make a change at once. These things aren't going to change at once. That would be unrealistic.
The instant in the meditation instant in the yomares.
Yeah, there's no instant change.
Yeah, tuzu goro, tuzu mangbo goro, tuzu des goro, lo dawa, lo mangbo, lo ju nyushu, lo sumju jela ne, jora, chedela joma, jawa chima jua tangi, da tendes pa mi kyang ringbo yo na ane kom de mutin gyapto goro demena dunda jingna la nga perfect shagin la cha yo mara tene yo mara ane discipline cha ro da.
Yeah, that's very important. This one's attitude to meditation should be over a sustained period of time. Take a long-term view. That could be years, 10, 15, 30 years. You might start to notice some change, and then that's this life, and then carrying it on to the next life. It's much better to have a very broad view than to think, I'm going to meditate and in 1 week I'm going to be perfect. Forget that.
It takes time. Every learning takes time. Stay learning English, it takes time. Stay driving takes time. And stay cooking, learning takes time. And meditation, of course, takes time. Therefore, never give up, bro. You don't never give up, bro.
So never give up.
No give up. Just to continue similar river, to continuous every day, a little bit, keep meditation, and then slowly coming, That Tiri Takanda Kale, Joshana Yaga, Karina Jaya Sangma Tizu Kurgudora.
It's much better to take a slow approach because whatever we're training in, it takes time.
Dire, that Rangjong Sebu Hago basic the motivation building meditation, the show way in bache. And Parubaru Jagumla, and Susu Chila, Kayla, ye meet the Ngala Pendokazu, Pen Kartogudo. And Miss Henji Susula, Sunovajan, Majiva Yongudona, they patch you mean those that they Rangjong Atare.
What to take from today is these self-study things we will try and practice, the having motivation in the morning, then the breathing exercise and the breathing meditation on the, in terms of placing the mind, focusing the mind. And then secondly, in terms of analysis, we're going to reflect on those around us, how kind they are to us and how they've benefited us. And if some people are harming you, try not to harm back.
This is your week home relaxation, no homework. No home relaxation. Okay. If you do this, you have relax. Do you have question? Tour, not tour.
Yeah.
They online have
questions are welcome. If you any online? No.
Tour, ning to do this to
Yeah, so if there are queries, we have a bit of time to go through them.
You all understand clear? Oh yeah. That the kanda sev koyo na digore.
Yeah. So if things are clear in the mind, that's it. It's okay.
Gonda ma nyegala bodela. Ani yangya komdix jana yagoyda.
Now, also at the end of the day before sleeping, it's also good to meditate a bit, to reflect.
Tadi sogdo che pandena ma nyeje ni kugula bo samdana digre. Dila nyeve the mindfulness in that.
So resting, you don't have to do a formal sitting up meditation.
Oh yeah.
You can do it lying down. It's like a horizontal lying down resting meditation.
That deal samdana. Oh, that tiring 내가 만들고 가르쳐서 나도 연구를 봐. 나빠서 대직마서 디딩마서 당에 내가 놓은 리든데셔. 밀라마지워서 라마지워서 상사만에 내가 최샤체 아니 아직 다틴데 산잉에 양자체나 디기면도 삼제 아니 데스 탐자로 샤 디돌아야 어두 삼로 데스 땅로 데스
The way to think would be to reflect, how did the day go? There are things that went well, perhaps things that went not so well. Did I harm others in my interactions? Did they harm me? And if there has harm that's taken place, maybe have a sense of awareness and regret around that and make determination tomorrow not to do the same behaviors.
다드네 야가 쳐들라 따라와 나 드린 쇼뱅에 곰자 나는 나랑 로발랑에 차스 칼라스 땅에 빼야고 저 나는 홈레스 된데라 로고체 아니 또 와르멘데 된데 로고체 구육숨 졸라로 거지. 언들 지 팬도 내가 몸을 지야 열어라. 근데 제 어디 당에 요 미카셰네 지 강에 유디 암조 년대위나 표절 팬도거다. 딘데기 팬도로 증이 제나 나 드링아 뭐네 미들한테 팬도로 딘데 지도서 빼야고 총소 아니 고음이야고 잡더니 님마대 야고로 차셔. 난 가오곰 dedication 야고체로 근데 내가 산이는 아곰 그냥 곰망고 자고도 겨와 치고도 밀레 팬도 치고도 땡원에 백해 좀 버려셔 양자 담자샤 어디 두스체제니 니 국토위나 니 배진 도구 쿠그랬는데 상단으로 포지티브 관나 상단은 니 조구 쿠그래 네게티브 관나 상단은 니 쿠그 말해라.
Yeah. So then if at the end of the day one reflects and things have gone very well, one can rejoice that it's gone well. The fact that you started the day with a morning intention and motivation and so forth, and things went well during the day. You might have made a nice cup of tea or a meal for your friends. That all went pretty well. You might have helped people that were down and out in the environment, homeless people or whatever. But essentially, you could have even given a friend some advice they really needed. Maybe a friend was going through problems and strife. So if you can do that, then that's really good. You can rejoice in those things and then think you can kind of dedicate the good things from that and then think tomorrow I'm going to do that again, make the strong kind of aspiration to do those good things again. So that would be like how to do like a one-day cycle from morning to night. Meditation.
And dineda 저랑도 dineda 건도 망고장 뒤유운데 곰자야라 레로 레기도 알아와 레로 곰자니 마르고 지기도 상상데 용거래로 말로 거래나 롭종 거래네 당보 앱사로 제티 저래 되네 한테 대신 하고서는 nhập 차로로 티고나 곰지고 말해 롭종 상말라 다가나래 로단 고란데로 레지디 리그고.
One of the biggest obstacles to meditating is laziness. We all experience that. In the beginning stages, we're so excited and we make a good beginning. But once we start to know it, it becomes a bit dull and we kind of leave it. Well, that's not just meditation, that's anything we learn, isn't it? We can be like that about that.
So that dela gongo pen 다나야고라 공고 pen 단다자다 알아서 이 소셜 미디어 피지 지거이나 아니 곰자베 pen 단다 the YouTube nala dinde do tebede yogi lash do
Yeah.
di komjanye to konzo gi susu experience mi to shake do
Okay.
odi yawo shows do dinala ne susu mi mango be de da kombe lo sumju shipju ngabju dinde jawe susu nyamnyon shake do
Ah, yeah.
pe yawo do de odi de tagi na chona odinde ro dinde ngoje tagi na ande da da tingsan da de Wisconsin University Wisconsin ge ane gomla de taje chene proof dem batinde mangbo yore ane tene mind and live conference na lab tende proof tende mangbo tanda de debate yugla de yawo shodo mangbo mebeche ande na la ngoma ge meaning ba de gom jabe susu ge experience shegdo
yeah
ande la ngone da gong pen 통그래 다 gong pen dozo da ngazo
so countermeasure to that laziness, it's really good to reflect what are the benefits of meditation. So you can look at some of these on social media. In YouTube, there's one clip or movie called The Yogis of Tibet. This is really good because what it's showing is these are yogis who have meditated a long time, 30, 40, 50 years. And it shows their experiences and the benefits they've got from meditating over that longer period of time. So there's that side. And then also more contemporary, the University of Wisconsin is studying, more scientifically the benefits of meditating. And there are these mind and life, scientific mind and life conferences. But coming back to the yogis of Tibet, that's really good to see the results long-term of these experienced meditators.
어디나라 여르지런다다 니 가시 개미종관나라 로망고테니 니 곰다 곰자야 그거 약시 종관나라 종라거다 당고 내지나 미지나 종관나라 쪽서 뺏사세그로
야
곰자니도 또 종관나라 곰자 약시 정세거다 제가 니 공부 편여라다
So one of the yogis mentions that they were in prison in China for a long time, and he says that was the best opportunity I had to meditate. Most people being in prison would be quite difficult, quite challenging, but for this person they said best chance, best.
And then 단다 저런저 더 배진 고그래 단다 겨울음지 가도 있는 순구도 남제타상게 타지다 남지는 로뉴슈지 정관하는 주점이로 다 로뉴슈 섬주래 만체 정관나 중에 네 디제를 자갈 술래네 네 겨울음지 계지다 저런 정관나 년가치슈 가르쳐 년가치슈 퇴상 등만이 배 년가치 못 퇴송스러워 등만이 년가치 못 쉬우 퇴송 아니 겨울음지 다 년가 가르임베 속 년가로 있나 된 그런 년가 가르에서도 디 그런 가르요로 년도가 콘솔라 닝지 콘솔라 닝지라야 돌라도 팀만이 채송 때년가 배체슈 총스
맞소
신다 년가 세게요 말 어디선가 다 곰잡는 데게 편해요다.
It's quite a well-known story that His Holiness the Dalai Lama was in conversation with one of the monks that had come out of Tibet, that had been 20 years in prison in Tibet under the Chinese, and His Holiness asked him, in your experience in prison, what was the biggest difficulty you faced? To which he replied, there were two big dangers. And then His Holiness said, what was the danger? Were you scared of losing your life in prison? He said, no, not that. The prison guards, on two occasions, it was a danger that I would lose my compassion for the prison guards twice.
곰 잡나 어딘데 편해. 단다데로 양알라 냠냠지 총들어. 나 간도 뭐심바지 요래. 근데 아메리카라 미치 답벳 간도데 리버레이션 프로젝트 와 에브엠디.
야.
근데 아니 enge 민도 와지데 라이스라. 아니 somba지라 라도와. 그 나게 랍자라 와지 라고도 코나타 종관나라. 아니 메제데오레스다. 메제 종가나 메제 종가나 되어라. 아니 빼갈래도다. 강반인 충조쇼도 아니 빼다 니마 빼링보도 서와. 니마 빼링보도 땅아 가르쳐 버렸어. 아니 빼강에도 생활랍제 자로지 생활랍서. 아니 예 권한래야다. 저랑 니머레레야 어느 만에 오만에 배마 홍 치레레레 때용스러워. 저랑 게 동강한테 저랑 참관이 돼서 참관하나 대대여서 안데 내가들 얘도 좀 알아 참기 요구 중이 예스러워. 나는 많이 다 하고 저랬어요. 아니 소화다지 되나 야고 요래서 애든데서 이게 뒤땀 버거나 아 그럼 배당아 다배 드네 다워 두레 로직 제래 양자 이길래 다배다 기우도 송가나 당아 니마레레 많이 치레를 사게요스 삼바 배기우다 미도 상황아 참고 요구 중이 당아란 참 로커랑아라 메제 참나 대야 그거 빼야고라 전화라와 템퍼레처 다 송가나라 배기우도 이거나 리모티스 저는 매 숍나랑 내 리모트 티셔츠다며
Ale.
그때 좀바디 튕겨 그 리모니 틸레서 매 숍나랑 கொஞ்சம் 내 리모트 송고도 말 송고도 어디 종에 좀배 튕겨
So those are some of the benefits of meditating, is cultivating those deeper states of compassion. And something from my own experience, I can relate this experience I had. The organization we're under, the FPMT has certain prison projects where they help to teach prisoners meditation. And then somehow one of the prisoners got to know of me and got to know, like who I was. And that prisoner, I think, Arinanglarwa, in America, they wrote me a letter saying that, I'm on a life sentence and prison's quite difficult. The room's really small. The days are really long. I'm having difficulties in prison. And so Geshe-la wrote back a letter to him saying that try to think that your room is not really small. It's like a temple or a place to meditate, and try to recite the mantra of compassion 1,000 times every day. 10,000 times. 10,000 times every day. And try and think on compassion and imagine that the fellow prisoners are not giving you a hard time, but they're actually your helpers. And so he did this, and I think 6 months or a year later, I got a letter back saying that now things had changed somewhat and he was feeling much better. He was now much more happy in that situation in prison, doing the daily practice. He could try to see the fellow prisoners as his helpers and didn't feel so confined. And then he actually sent a couple of pictures that he had drawn relating to his experience, and those pictures are in the office down there. So really, what we're saying is that such things are mental. It's really the way you see, the way you think. That comes from meditation. That's a benefit of meditation too.
Oh yeah, that's another pendo the gong pen and gom januishi gong pen ramardas.
So we have to actually sit and do the work, otherwise we don't get the benefits, right?
Ngaranzo weji in the laja tombo legunji laja tombo yo hagona lega machana legun laja te marwa.
Yeah.
Tigwarago. Ne laja tombo yona lega la nishu che legun ya chu ne lega che dunda jig lega chena ne rajig je laja te yongdo. Chigbarada gom majana na gong pen yo mar. Ti taganare. Gong pen hago gom majawa che ngal pen go samnande te chigbar lega majawa suweji stick do ro. Tenye yo maro. Chigbar nyare.
It's similar when we set out to get a good job because we're motivated by the salary. That's good, but the salary doesn't come in the hand straight away. Normally we have to wait a week or 2 weeks to get the salary. And it's the same with the meditation. You have to put effort to get the benefits that we've mentioned. It's not like suddenly you get the benefits of without doing it. That would be like suddenly getting the money without doing the work. That's not going to happen.
Oh yeah, that is so.
We'll stop for today.
Okay, we term these terms. Okay, I don't really see clear.